Hey Living Waters, you're about ready to see a life story of someone here at the church who has had their life radically changed by Jesus. And Jesus said that He came to seek and to save that which is lost. So what you're about ready to see is a story of someone whose life has been radically changed by Jesus Christ. Hope you enjoy it.
When my parents got kicked out of the Catholic Church in 1970 for getting a divorce, my life totally went bad. I was 13. By the time I was 16 years old, I had a drug dealing business. So it was pretty bad. I mean, the 70s, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And that was just about as pagan as you can get in that era. I just kind of got sick and tired, and I just kept going through the ropes. I got pregnant, was pregnant several times. I grew up with so much pain. God died. When my life died, God died. I literally did not believe in God. I would argue an argument down that God is dead. He's not alive. Something really bad happened in my life at Herbert Field, Florida. And for the first time in my adult life, it put me in a situation where I hit my knees and I prayed to a God I did not even believe in. I was going to fly my daughter back to Washington, D.C. and take my life. That's how sin-spun my life was, out of control, even in the military. Addicted to alcohol, everything you can imagine. So before that process, right before that, I got on my knees and I prayed and I asked this God I didn't believe in, are you real? Are you really for real? And I cried out to Him for the first time. And the weird thing was, then when I woke up the next morning, something urged me to go get a telephone book and start looking for churches. And I did, for the first time in my life. I mean, people who knew me, that was just totally weird. I would have never done that on my own. So I start calling like at 3 in the morning, leaving messages. A lady came to the door. I dressed my daughter in the only little dress she had, and that woman took me to church. I felt something at that church so powerful that I never felt before. And I think it was the love that scared me in believers. I literally ran out the back door. But I went back. It was a small storefront church down in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. And I went back. And 2 months later, I gave my life to the Lord. Every time I start talking about this, I just overflow, because for God to have mercy on someone like me and to draw me, I mean literally draw me. That's the only way. I'm sitting here a miracle, because nothing but God's Spirit drew me. It's Thanksgiving Day. This little storefront didn't even have a baptismal. So after I accepted the Lord into my heart and gave Him my life, I get this awesome deliverance story that I know don't happen to everybody. But I was 3 packs of cigarettes a day. I was a bad alcoholic. I went out. I went to light up a cigarette. And I had no desire. Never wore a patch, didn't do nothing. I went home, no one gave me a Bible study. No one told me you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that. I started taking all my Jack Daniels, all my Ashley Spumoni, and pouring it out in the drain. No one told me a word. I never had a Bible in my hand. So, believer's baptism a couple months later on Thanksgiving Day with the dolphins jumping in the background. So there used to be a banner over me that said this: prostitution, drugs, abortions, unbelief, never, never doubt how low God can reach. And that banner's kind of replaced. I've been in this reflective state of what God has done in my life 27 years ago. So, because right now is the time of the year when that very thing brought me to my knees. And then as I moved into the fall, I started going to that church, and then Thanksgiving, I took believer's baptism. as most believers find out, it's not a bed of roses. But the first thing I can say is he is this to me. He's a bridge over my troubled waters. Because they've come. My mother didn't talk to me for 3 years after I became converted. Because God's conviction gripped my heart so bad that my conversion was just profound. You know, if you don't drink anymore and God cleans your mouth up and all this happens, and you don't go to the same places anymore, there's a division. So my mother didn't even talk to me for 3 years at my conversion. So I would have to say he's a friend that sticks closer than any brother. My parents were split, and I had a pretty chaotic family life, so all those toxic relationships and all that drama and all that mess and everything, God washed that in. He's my daddy. He's my father. He became my mother. He became that parental, and he grafted me into his family. And I think one of the biggest joys, recently since I found my husband, I found Living Waters, was he gave me the family of God. He's done that in my life through the years, because I've been members somewhere else. But it's different when you have the family of God. It's unlike anything else.